Is 2024 the year that you are going to finally shine and be even more consistent with powerful content that is going to continuously attract and magnetize aligned clients all year long? Then today's video is for you, because we are going to talk about how to go from invisible to invincible and get into this groove with your content creation, take it to the next level, and really discover how content creation will completely transform your business in 2024 and beyond. There is power in consistency, but why? Here's the thing. You want to call in consistent clients who pay you consistently, who refer you consistently. You want to get booked for gigs, speaking gigs, podcast interviews, be featured consistently. You want to, consistently live the lifestyle that you desire and you know that you deserve. Like, you want all these things consistently, but you're not willing to show up for it consistently. The two don't mix. Visibility is important, but not just any visibility. There's a lot of people out here who care about likes and follows and how many people are, following them. The popularity contest, right? It reminds me of like high school. Who's most popular, right? But there's a lot of underpaid powerhouses, meaning, are you actually translating those followers, those likes, all those things over into money, into sales through your business? If you just want to be a content creator who's just cute, who's just, like, oh, I got this many followers this week and I did this, then, that's fine. But if you are a business owner who also is a content creator, who is leveraging your content to call clients into your programs, your services, your offers, your community, and things like that, then you want to make sure that you're not just putting out any content, you're not just being visible in any way, but that there's actually a strategy behind it. And so the absolute number one way to amplify your visibility and to really position yourself and your authority and your expertise and your thought leadership, it really is all about content, right? But here's the thing, consistently creating content that is sustainable for your brand will lead to growth. But we're not talking about any content. Let's value content quality, right, before we try to aim for content quantity. I see women do it all the time. Kira, I showed up this many times, check. I knew I wanted to show up 3 times this week, check. Like, you're doing it from this checklist standpoint, which what's the energy in that? No wonder the vibe isn't there. No wonder you're tired, you're exhausted, you're just trying to check a box, right? And so are we looking at our clients like a box? Are we just looking at our programs like a box? Like, we're just checking off things? Or are we really in this for the long haul? Is this work that we're truly passionate about? Is this really our purpose work? Is this something that we truly feel is a calling and an assignment, right? A message that we know that we have to get out into the world. And we know that when we get the people, the right people, okay, into our programs and our offers and our services and behind the scenes and get access to us and our brands and all that, right? We know that when that happens, that's when we create true transformation, true impact, right? That we know that we're called to be making. And so for all of that, we want to have a strategic and intentional plan when it comes to our visibility and creating consistent content. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to dive more into the key elements that you need for strategic content creation for 2024 and beyond. This is going to help you create more consistent content, more powerful content that actually works for you and for your brand, to call in the aligned clients and community that you really desire and you deserve, sis. Let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing we're going to dive into is the secret to consistent quality content, okay? Which is really consistent quality messaging. A lot of people confuse messaging and content, and they are not the same. For my clients and I, if you're always worrying about how to create content from a quantity standpoint, right? But you're not actually diving into, well, how do I actually optimize my content? How do I make sure that it's more powerful, that it's connecting and converting, that it is calling in the clients and the community members that I want, that it's actually positioning me, right? How do I make it better? How do I get it to where it performs better for me, right? So I believe that if you are putting sucky messaging, mediocre messaging into your content, well, then you're just going to have mediocre, sucky content. Like, the two go hand in hand. They're interconnected. Here's the thing. If you're baking like a cake, right, and you use quality ingredients, then that is going to amplify the quality of the cake or whatever you're making. If you use sucky, cheap ingredients, then it may affect, the outcome of what it is that you're creating, baking, cooking, whatever it is. So we have to put in quality if we want quality at the back end of the thing, right? And I know that you want aligned clients, you want quality clients, you want clients who really value your work, community members who love, being in your space, learning from you, getting access to you, being a part of your community, who are going to go rave about you, all the things. The very first thing that you want to work on before we even dive into, Kira, how am I creating more consistent content? Let's actually focus on, well, what is the messaging that's going inside of the content? And is that optimized? Is that at its highest performing capability, right? So that I make sure that I am putting in quality ingredients into the content that I want to give me quality results and quality clients and quality cash and all the thing, quality lifestyle, right? It's all connected. So what I want to refer you to is definitely check out my next level message vision. We will pop that video on up here. You can check out that video. There's an exercise that I go through called Next Level Messaging Vision. There also is a current messaging assessment that I do. So those two things would actually support you so much for you to get started. Now, if you do want me to do a deeper video specifically on the difference between content versus messaging, and to literally show maybe even some behind the scenes of how my clients and I 10x the performance of our content using my messaging strategies, then comment below and let me know. But for right now, to get started, I definitely want to invite you to go to the Next Level Message Vision video, where I go through the current messaging assessment that literally can walk you through, like, okay, well, how is my messaging performing right now? And then it'll take you through a next level message vision, because a lot of times what I see from women, whether you've been in business for a year or two, or I have clients who've been in business 10 to 20 years, you get into this like rut. I was actually talking to a friend the other day, and she was saying how like she had to stop, and she's been in business for years, right? And she's had several clients, and she's been full-time in her business. And she was like, I had to stop. I had to pull out my whiteboard, and I had to like write out some things, right? And I hear that from clients all the time. And I even have been there where I'm like, wait a minute, let's pause. Let's come back to the vision of what it is that we want this content to do. What is the intention behind the content? What's the intention behind the message? What's the intention of what I want these things to do, right? Who do I want them to bring in? Why do I want them to bring in these people? What do I want to do with this money? What do I want to do with this movement? All the things. So sometimes you have to kind of come back to the vision to get a little clarity, or a lot of clarity, and then you will have so much information and exactly what you need to take action to then step into a more consistent and sustainable content strategy, visibility strategy, and plan for 2024. So that's step one. Dive into the messaging first so that we make sure we're not putting in bad ingredients into our cake, okay? Because the content is making us a cake, if you didn't know. Now let's dive into how to actually create quality, consistent content. All right. So I'm going to give you three tips that are going to help you create more content consistently and of high quality. So the first thing I want to say, like, if you're using this, then this is going to be perfect for you, not only for creating consistent content, but also if you're someone who wants to start content batching for your brand to create more sustainable, brand growth for yourself, then this is also going to help you as well. If you are someone who is right now planning out your yearly content plan, right? So creating consistent content all year long, then this is going to help you as well. And one thing I just want to say, if you're not there yet, like here, creating a year of content, okay, hold on. Then start with a week. Start with 1 week of content. Then start with 2 weeks, right? Then graduate from there to 1 month. Then go to 1 quarter, right? Work your way up. Don't feel like you have to do a year all at once. But if you do want to see a breakdown of how I help clients create and plan out and map out a year of content, let me know. I can do a video on that. I'm actually right now, as I think about that, I'm thinking about my client, Ashley. We actually did one of my power message and monetization intensives, which is a couple hours of intensive where we dive into every part of your messaging and your positioning and your language and your ideal client, your framework, all that stuff, to make sure that you are using your content to, optimizing your content to sell what it is that you offer more powerfully. And we actually created a year worth of content, 52 different topics, because she does weekly, right? So we'll figure out what your frequency is. That's something that I love doing with my Money in the Message inner circle members, right? Inside of the program, helping my clients and community members step into a space where they understand, what their frequency is, like how often they want to create content, and then, pulling from their framework, what the content is going to be. So the topics and all that good stuff. So if you do want to see a video deeper on that, let me know in the comments. But that is going to be the first thing I want to share with you is, first and foremost, just kind of get into find your groove, right, with how consistent you want it. And I actually mentioned this in my I did a mindset video where I was talking about overcoming your visibility mindset and things along those lines. And one thing that I mentioned was you need to redefine what consistency means for you. And so I'm actually going to mention that here as well. You have to define consistency for you. I literally was just saying this, had our Money in the Message inner circle call yesterday, and I was saying this to one of the members. I was doing an audit on her call to action in her video and a couple other things for her. And I was talking about the fact that you are going to have to define consistency for yourself. Consistency for you might be every single day 5 days a week. Consistency for you might be, you know what, I got two times, right? And then one of our members, that I was talking to yesterday, she has a full-time job. And so, understanding, well, what does consistency look like for you with a full-time job versus for you as a mother of 3 versus for you as a grandmother of, and sometimes you have your grandkids with you. Like, everyone's in these different seasons of life, these different types of lifestyles. And so understanding what consistency means for you is going to be really, really helpful. All right. So now, with that being said, let me actually dive into the next thing, the mindset that you need for consistency. So I would definitely recommend, we're going to pop it over here as well, the Overcoming Your Visibility Fears video. Definitely check that out if you have a ton of mindset stuff coming up. But mindset is going to be so important for you to stay consistent. First and foremost, consistency really requires commitment. You are making a decision and you are committed, right, to showing up, to share your content, to put your message out there. And it's going to require you to give yourself permission. In addition to that, it does require you to break through some of those visibility mindset blocks that you may have, things around being seen. Actually, one of our Money in the Message members, right, so they're an annual member, and at this time of today, okay, our annual members get a couple of bonuses, and one of those bonuses is we actually will create, my team and I create a customized calendar, a content calendar of 10 topics that you can literally use right now today, go implement today, right? And we kind of go through that in more detail. And so what I was sharing with them was I can give you the content calendar and it's going to be bomb.com. Like, literally one of the other bonuses that they get is a power call to action audio, which is literally me. Like, there's a couple questions that I ask. People get so tripped out about this. I can ask about 3 to 5 questions and extract out so much information and literally feedback to your program. And people are like, I didn't even say that. That wasn't in any of my answers, but how did you know that? And how did you take it there? And how did you connect the dots there? And Kira, how did you make me want to buy my own program? Okay. So that's another bonus for our annual members who join Money in the Message Inner Circle. And so I was saying, like, I could give you this content calendar. I could give you that power call to action audio, right? But you have to be able to put it out. You have to go perform it, right? And that is the power of stepping into your power message, is that you embody it, you feel it, it's yours, right? You can't just have people write the stuff for you and then you go perform it on stage. I mean, you can, but that's where a lot of imposter energy comes from for women in business. That's where a lot of lack of flow comes in with content, because you're trying to be like this person. You're trying to do your content like this. You're trying to be consistent like that. You're trying to have your message be like that. And none of it is truly your most authentic and aligned message and content flow and strategy and, all the things, right? And so the mindset that you need to have for consistency is giving yourself permission, right, to be consistent, committing and deciding first, then giving yourself permission, right, to follow through with that commitment, but also giving yourself permission to be seen. You're creating this content to put out, to talk about what you do, to reach your people, to call clients in and community members in and call your audience in, right? And it's going to call in visibility opportunities. It's going to call in money, right? Which is going to afford you to uplevel your life and the lives of those that you love. So all of this is connected. If there's mindset stuff coming up around being visible, around being seen, around showing up, around speaking, around selling, around money, we have to tackle those things, right? Because if you don't, my love, you can sit and map out all the content. Matter of fact, I want you to comment in the video below, how many sticky notes do you have of content ideas? How many notebooks do you have of content ideas? I have my tablet right here beside me. How many notes in your tablets, right? Notes on your iPhone, ideas of content, right? Google Doc, whatever spreadsheet, whatever system, Trello, Asana, whatever you use, okay? How many of those do you have? How many content ideas do you have, but you haven't put them out? So we're sitting here talking about, well, Kira, yeah, how do I create even more content? One, we probably need to look at the messaging to make sure that content that you put out has the right messaging so that it actually produces the quality performance that you want. That's one. But two, what's the mindset behind all of this, right? To actually put this out, to actually be seen. So definitely check out that Overcoming Your Visibility Fears, video that I've done. There's actually an amazing workbook assessment in there that will help you actually identify which of the 6 mindset to monetize pillars. These are, after working with thousands of women, these are 6 of the core pillars that I have found out of all of the mindset stuff, all the mind trash. I have identified and discovered 6 key areas, 6 key pillars from a mindset standpoint that distract and interrupt a woman from monetizing her shine, from monetizing her gift, from monetizing her message, from making her money and showing up and putting out her goddamn content and letting herself make money from it, okay? So definitely check that video out, right? That will definitely help you in building your mindset for even more consistency. The last thing I do also want to add in when it comes to the mindset for consistency is this. This is a part of the mindset too. So one of the core pillars I talk about is your expertise mindset, right? So that is really you owning that you are a thought leader and a contributor. You have your own level of expertise, right? Someone else may know more, someone else will know less. You have what you need to show up right now. You're going to gain more. There's a lifelong, journey happening of learning, but you do have something to contribute now. And so you are going to have to own that so that you own the fact that you belong at the table, that you belong in the room, that you belong a part of the conversation, and that you belong in a space of contributing to your industry and your thought leadership and whatever it is that you do. And so you are going to need to own what you are incredible at, right? So that you can now create content around that consistently. And so that is going to be super, super important for you to maintain the mindset for actual consistency. All right, so I just mentioned how you need to own the fact that you are an expert in your genius and that you're going to be creating content, right, around that genius, around that expertise, putting it out into the world. With that being said, right, you have to have that level of, consistency and that mindset really, right? So as I step into the next point, I'm going to bring that along. The next point is you want to now focus on creating content that leads to your offers. The reason why I had to mention the expert mindset and you owning your, expert hat, your expert crown, okay, is because when it comes to your offers, some of y'all have a million different offers and it's hard to be consistent with a million different things. Let me share it like this. This is actually not something that I was going to say, but listen, I just feel led. This is something I talk about heavy with my Money in the Message Inner Circle members. So they've heard these concepts from me before. And so if you're a member, shout out, say hey in the comments, but I want you to, you probably have heard this before. I want you to think about energy. We have 100% of energy. We have 100%. That's our capacity. People say, give it 1,000%, give it 2,000%. We have 100%. The reality is there's a cap. Okay. We're not bunny rabbits. What is it? The rabbit with the battery. We're not that. We don't go. Okay. We have a breaking point. We have a burnout point. We have a capacity. And as women entrepreneurs, when it comes to content, what happens for women entrepreneurs, content creators, influencers, you get super burned out because you are not following a sustainable visibility content marketing plan. You're not, right? And so some of that is in the mindset of like you comparing yourself and thinking this is how you need to do it. And so you have to step back. And that's one thing that I really love with our Money in the Message members is really stepping into a space where we invite you to understand, well, what is your frequency? What does your aligned visibility strategy look like? But with that being said, let's come back to offers. This is about offers. So you have 10 different offers, right? When you look at this from an energy standpoint, you only have 100%. So that means everything gets 10%, just, basic math. Now, if you cut that in half, and now you have 5 offers, now everything, can get a little bit more even support, right? So now everything can get 20%, 20, 20, 20, 20. If we cut that, right, and we only have 2 core offers, then we only have to we give something 50% and something else 50%. You see where I'm going with this? It is really, really hard to stay consistent and give your fullest energy to something when you're doing it times 10 versus if you were to simplify your business models. Really quick, I've been telling y'all, if you want to hear more about my story, let me know. I'll do a whole video to talk about my story. But in short, I just want to say back in 2016, 17, 18, I think this was like 2017. I had like 15 different offers. Now, 14 out of the 15 sold. The one that didn't sell, one client bought it, and then it was like a smaller version because back then I was like, oh, if I just have cheap offers, and like, of course, that's gonna sell the most. But she came into that one, and like within minutes, she was like, wait, can I upgrade? Can I still upgrade for that special? And I was like, okay, so technically it was sold, but it wasn't sold because they went to something else. But I had like 15 different offers, y'all. Those 15 different offers, this was in the first couple months of my business. I had made $50,000. Okay. Fast forward a couple months later, I decided, you know what? I wanted to start having signature core offers, right? So I talk a lot about having core power offers in your business. Now, I, was like, okay, I'm going to, bring things back. So then I focus on having like three different offers. So there was one of my bigger offers. It was a 5-figure investment. And then I had like another offer that was like a 4-figure investment. And I was like, what if I just focus on this? And then I think I had like one other small thing, but those were my two main focuses, right? And so I remember signing my very first 5-figure client. It was an $11,000 client. I was so excited. It took me 3 weeks to sign that client. And then I went through that offer and I was like, let me fine-tooth comb some other stuff. Let me restructure some stuff. Let me pivot some things. Because even after just working with her, because I was offering everything but the kitchen sink, because that's what I thought I had to do to charge that much, right? And so I was doing all this stuff, and I was like, this don't feel right. I was like offering all these calls. It was a lot. And I already was like, there's no way I can have 3. Like I would have like anywhere from 8 to 11 clients at a time. And I was like, there's no way I could have 3, 5 of these clients, right? And so I said, I have to tweak some things. And I made those tweaks. And within about 30 days less, I forget the exact time, but it wasn't too far off, I literally had my very first $21,000 month, and I got to celebrate signing in a couple of clients at I actually generated my first 19, I don't know the actual number, but 19 something. So let's just say like $19,200 or something like that. And that was my first like cash day. And so I was so excited, but I want to break that down for y'all. Like when I did all the math, when I realized how much I made, I was like, oh, I made $50,000 from focusing on these 2, but I also made $50,000 from focusing on these 15 in less time, right? Like I think it was like in 2 to 3 months I had done that versus what took me like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months, right? And so that is the power of honing in. So I'm going to leave that there. If you want me to do a video where I go through business models and like really how to create a sustainable business model that's still profitable, but that's intentional and aligned and purposeful, but also that makes sense. And if you want me to talk more about core power offers, let me know in the comments. But that's just an example of what happens when you really hone in and you focus on your core stuff. And I know that a lot of my clients are like, here, I don't want to be put in a box. Don't put me in a box. Okay. I feel the same exact way. But here's what I know. What I know is that I am not calling you to niche down. Okay. I know that's a big thing. I am calling you to niche deeper. Let's go deeper into your work. So what I realized was when I look at, at least 30 to 40 programs that I've had over the years, when I take the best parts of those programs, guess what? They became money in the message inner circle. So it wasn't me niching down like, I can't offer these 15 things. It actually was, wait a minute. All I'm doing is just dividing them into all these little things to make it real accessible for people who kind of really don't want to show up. They only want to show up a little bit. That's why they only want to pay a little bit. I want women who want to show all the way up. I want women who want to monetize their message long term, not just trendy messaging, but timeless messaging that aligns with their true calling and their true assignment and the work that they're here to be doing in the world. So I don't want to play around with people who not as committed, who not on that level. So why am I giving bits and pieces of my work in all of these different offers when, listen, just come on and money in the message inner circle. You get my mindset stuff, you get my messaging stuff, you get my monetization stuff, you get access to me every single week, you get audits, we get check-ins, all these different things. Like, just come on and get the access to it. So that was an example of me not niching down, but niching deeper. I want to go deeper into the core work that I do, helping women master their mindset, their messaging, to monetize their message more powerfully, more purposefully, more profitably. That's it. And that became the space that I get to do it in, right? And I really just focus on that. And then from there, it grew into me having masterminds and inner circles where they would last for 4 years at a time, where women would not leave. I've had women in there for 2, 3 years who've never left, not 1 month, who've always been in there, right? And so I pride myself in that and creating these really powerful spaces. And so that definitely is an invitation for you to join us in Money in the Message Inner Circle. The link is in the comments below. If you need to check out the details, you need to be in there. So with that being said, when we come back to consistent content creation, you need to make sure that that content is leading back to your offers, right? If you want to maximize your lead generation and have strategic content and a strategic content marketing plan and strategy all year long and beyond. So you want to make sure that the content is linking back to your business, right? Because we're here to make money. Again, if you're here just to look cute, just to do some videos and all that, then okay, that's fine. But if you actually are using content to leverage it in your business, to build your brand, to build your authority, to also build your client attraction, your community attraction, what you want to do is link back your content to your framework, okay? So whether that's on Facebook, whether that's on Instagram, whether that's through podcasting or YouTube, whether it's through video or if it's written content, like if you're into blogging or social media posting, or if it's more audio content, you want to use your framework, which is your methodology, your system, your process, right? If you have the Next Level Message Workbook, right? If you have the full version, go to page, it should be around 18, page 18 of the workbook. And in that section, I talk about, some of the, basically like the framework, right? And the power of the framework. And so if you have your framework built correctly, then you should be able to extract out whatever the key categories or key, topics that you talk about, that you teach on. Those become your content pillars. They should mirror each other. All right. And so, or your core content categories, right? They're going to be the core things that you talk about in your content. They should align with the core things you teach about. You see where I'm going with this? Our framework is built into our offer, right? So our offer has pieces of our framework of what we teach in it. Our content is selling our offer. So therefore, the content should be selling the framework. So then we want to match the framework and offer pillars with the content pillars. That's like the number one way of how you make sure that your content leads back into your offer. So for example, in this video, I'm talking all about creating consistent content. I'm talking about the fact that a lot of people are making content from a quantity standpoint, but the quality of the messaging sucks, which makes the content quality suck. And that's why it's not performing the way that they want. Ooh, come over into Money in the Message Inner Circle. I can help you with that. Literally in yesterday's call, we were going through one of our clients' videos, going through the call to action. Literally, she commented, "Get me together." And she's been in business for a while. She has hit, multiple six figures last year in her business. And so she's amazing at what she does. But this is literally an example. I am talking to you about a content pillar of mine, but that content pillar mirrors some of the work that I do inside of my framework. Is a small piece of it, but is a very important piece of it, right? It's inside of my messaging pillar, because I break that down into a couple different parts and categories, but content and consistency is a part of it, right? Then I also talked about mindset to be consistent. That is a part of the mindset pillar of my framework, right? And then I am talking to you about an offer that I have, Money in the Message Inner Circle, where I touch on mindset to be consistent, to break through those visibility, sales, expertise, mindset blocks. You have all those things. And what's the messaging you need to be consistent and to optimize the performance of your content, and your sales and all those types of things. You see how that all blended together? That's what you want to be doing for you and your business and your content. All right. Make sure that your content is leading back to your core offers. It is the most powerful thing that you can do to amplify your client attraction. That client attraction activity of creating content and doing it in a way that you are bringing in quality, right? To bring in quality clients, quality money. I keep saying that. If you haven't heard me say it over and over and over again, is super, super important. So make sure that, like I said, if you want to dive more into framework and assess your framework, go to page 18 in the Next Level Message Workbook. And then also, if you want to hear me talk more about creating power content, go to page 37. Now, I haven't mentioned power content too much, but in short, power content literally is creating a bank, right? So this is an exercise that we have coming up actually for our Money in the Message Inner Circle members. And it's something that I've done for years, but I'm excited to kind of bring it to them so that we can make it even easier and quicker. So you want to basically be able to go through your framework. Again, if your framework is built right, if we're messing with a mediocre framework that's not all the way built, just like if we're messing with mediocre messaging and we're putting this into content, it don't work. So we got to make sure those two are high quality. But if it's built right, you should be able to literally see the core categories of your content pillars. And what I want to recommend for you is create a power content bank for yourself. If you want me to do another video about, creating content pillars and then also turning that into a content bank, a power content bank, then let me know in the comments. I'm happy to do that. In short, where you could start with that is, what are 5 to 10, pieces of content I could create that mirror back to my framework? That's it in short. All right. So let's go ahead and let's dive into the next one. Content that attracts your aligned client. So we've talked about how to actually create consistent content. So what are the core elements that you want? You want a mindset for consistency, right? You also want to be able to have content that leads back to your offers, leveraging your, framework and the core pillars of your framework and your method and what you talk about and teach on, right? And using that to funnel back into your offers. We got to talk about the people. Who's getting this content? Who's coming into the program and into your community? It's your ideal client. Again, I don't want to call in just any client. I know you don't either. Just anybody in your community. You want aligned client and community members. And so I want to remind you that what you want to do with your content is you want to always, always, always make sure that it is speaking to your most ideal client. So the first thing that you want to do is define your ideal client profile. Who is your ideal client avatar or your ideal community member avatar? You want to create that for yourself. So you really want to understand, how do I find out who my client is? Dive deeper into that. They're all around you right now. My client Dorianne, she was making like $3,000 a month in her business. She had an email her list in like 2 months, and she was like, here, there's no way I can put out this new messaging, right? She was actually in the original Money in the Message. There's no way that I can put out this messaging and people are going to come in. I've ghosted them. I have not been visible. And I said, listen, this is what we're going to do. And we worked on the strategy together. Literally within 24 to 48 hours, she had, I think it was 9 women knocking on her door like, listen, tell me more about this offer. She closed $30,000 in 20 something days. Okay. The money is in the message. And once we worked on that mindset and we worked on everything that I said right before, which was your content and your messaging has to align back to your offer. One of the biggest things that we worked on was her getting to know her ideal client. So if you're brand new in your business, then definitely grab the Next Level Message Workbook. I want you to head over to, let me see what page it is. Page 26 is where I talk more about honing into your ideal client. But if you are a woman who's been in business, it's never enough as far as your ideal client. You need to always be curious about who your ideal client and community member is. So I don't care how long you've been in business. I have a client right now who's been in business for 20 years, and we still do our ideal client deep dive. And that's because I don't do basic ideal client stuff. So some of y'all go through the demographics and like what age they are. And some of you, it matters, right? It does matter. But most of the time, the psychographics is what matter. So I want you to think about, how does your client feel right now about where they are? Whatever you help your client with, whatever your content helps your clients and your community members and your audience with, what are they feeling right now in regards to that? What's the biggest problem that they're having with that thing? And what's the biggest thing that they desire? What's one way that you could help them take one step forward? Go do a video on that. Go put out a post on that. Go create a mini course, a masterclass, a freebie, a webinar, some type of enrollment event, a challenge, an offer, whatever it is. Go talk about just that thing. And then if you want to take it to the next level and be consistent, what are 3 ways you could talk about that one thing? What's 5 ways you can talk about that one thing? My clients laugh at me because I've taken one thing and talked about it in 30 different ways. And they're like, here, that's 30 days of content. If you do every day, but if you're someone who's like, I only do twice a day, well, then that's 15. So like you can just break it. Okay, now it becomes a quarter of content. So this is how we really like stretch out the content. You also should be repurposing, but we're not talking about repurposing in this video, but let me know if you need a video on repurposing, but you also should be repurposing. Repurposing just means, here's one way that I put this out, but here's 2 to 3 other ways that I could put this out. So instead of it being one piece of content, now it's 4 or 5, right, that I can use over time. So make sure that you're diving into who your ideal client is. I hope that some of those questions help you. And again, do not make this a, I'm brand new and I should be doing my ideal client work, versus I'm more mature and, advanced and established in my business. I don't need to get to know my ideal client. No, still stay curious with who your ideal client is. That is exactly what we did with Dorianne, right? So $3,000 every single month consistently in her business, and then having her first $30,000 month. It was literally, I call it client intimacy messaging. That's my client intimacy messaging method. You will learn about that in Money in the Message. You will get access to it. And inside Money in the Message, or if you do an intensive with me, we actually build out your very own messaging map. It is literally a map of, think about like a map of your client, your most ideal client's brain, okay? All the psychographics of what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what gets them to buy, what gets them not to buy, what are they annoyed with right now? What is it that they want? Why would they buy this thing? What would make them value this the most? That's how you sell your offer. We're selling on transformation and the impact, right? So make sure that your content is speaking to your most ideal client. And I hope that those questions help you. All right. Again, go to page 26 if you want to learn more about like my client intimacy messaging method and really honing in on your core client, and even do a little assessment for yourself. Plus, if you come in over into Money in the Message Inner Circle, then you definitely, I'll tell you where to go inside of our training suite and inside of the, how I can help you get started with getting to know your client on a deeper level, because that is going to be where the real magic is for you to amplify your content. Okay, so I want you to comment below, and I want you to let me know, how consistent are you right now with your content? And tell me, after watching this video, what's one takeaway you have? What's one thing you are going to implement, right, to, amplifying your content strategy for 2024. I cannot wait to hear. And as I read through, I might give you feedback. So as much as I have time, I want to actually say like, hey, I would add this, I would tweak that. So make sure that you comment below so that I can give you some additional feedback. Grab that Next Level Message Workbook and go to the pages that I've referenced in this video. The full version is where you can go. And I want to definitely invite you to make sure that you subscribe if you want more on brand positioning, your messaging and content marketing and all the things. And let me know if there's any other videos that you want me to do next. Also, make sure that you share this video with your biz bestie, your mastermind sister, another woman who you know needs to monetize her expertise and her message even more powerfully too. And until next time, sis, love, shine, and success in life, business, and everything in between. Bye, y'all.